Another talk? You
Yes, my
ready?
friend. I'm
You
ready. I'm
ready?
ready. Shoot,
You
shoot.
ready?
What do you want to talk?
You ready to
What do
put
you
your
want?
secrets outside the world to spread it out?
I have no secrets, man. All I have
Yeah.
is learning every day. I have
Uh,
no damn secrets. There's no secret in this thing.
okay, wonderful, man. So I have a question that I'm thinking since a lot of a lot of time. So how can you create your own character? For example, like Mark Zuckerberg, like Steve Jobs, you know, when for example Steve Jobs wear the same, the same shirt, the same jeans, and even Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, the same, So it's like they are like actors, you know what I mean, and they are playing the role every day.
That's so interesting to look at it that way. That's pretty interesting to look at it that way.
Yeah, it's I remember when I was younger, I said, but this guy is so rich, man. Why is he wearing the same shirt all the time? I think that's now that I'm a little bit older. It's something behind. I think that they want to achieve something. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's like that. Even their, how they act. I think when you said the last time, you need to be your own person. You
Yeah,
need your idol. So I think, how can you create your character that you really are? Maybe.
I don't know if that's so. Let's look at it another way.
Mm.
So, do you think that Steve Jobs would have created a different iPhone if he was wearing a suit?
No, it would sell in another way.
It was that's a good answer.
I think it
That's
would
a
sell another way. Because it's like it's like that you trust him. You know what I mean? It gives you this sense of trust. You know, I don't know if I would trust him. Not trust. But it's
Go
like
ahead. Maybe
uh,
the message wouldn't have sound authentic coming from a guy with a suit.
exactly. Maybe he. I don't know if I could trust him so much if he would be wear a suit, with a blazer, with a shirt, with a tie. I don't know. I don't know. The same like Mark Zuckerberg. You know,
Hmm.
it,
But you
it, it,
trust him?
well, that's a big word, but I feel
Because
more
the thing I do not understand is, like Steve Jobs, he wore the same clothes all the time, but they don't like him. Why
yeah.
not? I don't understand.
Well, I think the people that don't like him are the people that work with him. In
Really?
well, all the interviews that I heard that he was a bad person, that he freaked out all
Oh,
the
you mean
time.
Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you
but
mean?
I'm talking in general. Let's not talk internally. So the people that know Jobs internally, they have a view. The people that know Zuckerberg internally, they have a view. But let's talk about the external view.
Yeah. Mhm.
In the eyes of the majority of people that didn't work at Apple, they love Steve Jobs.
Mhm.
And when you listen to around, people usually do not like Mike Zucker, Mark Zuckerberg. It
Mhm.
seems to me that they think he's bad, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
and that he's tricking you using your. Of course, we know all what his platform is doing. His platform is doing a
Mhm.
bunch of things. Uh, all the social media platforms are doing it.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
why is he considered bad he dresses with the same simple clothes as Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs tricked everyone into buying the iPhone the same way.
Yeah,
but why?
That's maybe because Zuckerberg has something in his hands that these political people don't have. Because what I mean, for example, Mark Zuckerberg has 2 billion users, that
Yeah.
he has the ability to bring them to point A to point B, with some codes behind, some software engineers, you know what I mean? He has this platform.
But how many people buy Apple, the iPhone?
Well, also over 1 billion. I mean that.
You see what I mean? And Steve Jobs made you overpay for this thing. I mean,
I don't know. So why is working Facebook? I mean, I think it's not because only of Mark Zuckerberg. Of course, he created this and all the things, but he created this, this character that he's very naive, that he's very, I don't know, I don't know about anything, but but it works. I think it works. Maybe the goal is that the people hate him. Maybe I don't know.
I don't think that's anyone's goal that they hate you. No. But what I'm trying to say here is that if he was copying Steve Jobs by dressing like him with the same thing and using those Adidas flip flops, because that was it didn't work. But even if it didn't work, you still use Facebook.
Because it's not about the character, it's about the product, maybe?
Here we go. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. So you think these people, they are just the way they are, I want to be, they're
products work because they solve a need. And usually the trouble you have as an entrepreneur is, how do I let the people who have that need understand that my product solve it? And then how, after they start using it, how do I do that very fast in less than 12 seconds? Because they say Millennium don't have more than 12 seconds. How, in less than 12 seconds, I make them understand that this is what they were looking for? If you can do that, I think you can go naked.
Nobody cares.
I don't think anyone cares, man.
But that's marketing, right? Also.
So let's go to an extreme.
Let's
go to an extreme. Okay? How does the CEO of Marlboro dresses? We don't even know who he is.
Exactly. I don't know who is this guy.
But people who smoke can't stop smoking.
Exactly. Okay. So oh my God. So you say so like this character idol, how they dress and everything. It's not about marketing. It's not about anything.
Bro,
it's just the way they are.
Those guys have a product that works. So once you have a product that works, you do whatever you want. You dress the way you want. You talk the way you want, because you've nailed down adoption. You've nailed down the messaging, and you'll nail down solving the need of the people. Once you do that, do whatever you want.
Oh my God, man. Okay. So that
it's crazy to look at it that way, because all those things are relative to, have you solved? Does your product solve a need?
Yeah, that's true, because sometimes you think, you say maybe he has a secret, he has this one, but at the end, the secret that he has, it's not a secret, but it's like a solution for the people.
You figured out people have a need, and you help them solve it. If your product solve it better, that's one step. It's not enough. That's one step. A better step is, how do you make them realize in less than 12 seconds that this is the product for them?
And that's marketing, right?
Marketing. That's the messaging that goes with it. I'll give you another example. Do you think people know how Jeff Bezos dresses? No one knows.
No. And actually, now that I'm thinking, Jeff Bezos, all the time that I see him on social media, on video, he dresses all, different. He doesn't have like.
There we go.
Okay.
And Amazon is eating up the world.
And
Amazon will only go bigger.
And he went bigger this year.
Oh, it's only going bigger. So let's not confuse valuation with revenue, okay? So the price might go down or go up. But market share will always grow. I mean.
So what is exactly the difference? I mean, how should I understand? You said about the words. You said don't confuse
valuation. Valuation with market share. No. Okay. So I'll give you an example. So let's say a company is selling $100 million.
Yeah.
For a company is selling for $100 million. That's how big a market they have. Okay, they're selling for $100 million. Now I tell you, what's the price of that company? When interest rates are low, I may be willing to pay 20 times revenue. So I may say a company that is selling for $100 million, I'm willing to pay $2 billion. Okay.
Okay.
But now let's say interest rate goes high. The same company with $100 million, but price earning becomes 10 times. Let's say the multiple, not price earning. Let's say price to sale becomes 10 times. Just making an example. So for the same company, when interest rates are high, I'm only willing to pay $1 billion.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
So what happened is the company can start growing sales. But because interest rate, which is the discount rate that I use to put a price on the company, is higher, even if the company is selling more, it is worth less in valuation. So Amazon might keep growing revenue, but if 10 years from now, 5 years from now, we have inflation and interest rate goes from 0 to 15, the discount rate goes to 0 to 15, Amazon will be worth less money, even if they're selling more products.
Okay. Wow.
But the thing is, in terms of growth, I mean, it's really hard to stop Amazon right now. And it's getting harder every time.
Yeah, because, also with this Corona and this COVID-19, people, even the people they never,
and no
never
one
use
how Jeff Bezos is dressed.
but he has a solution, so he don't care. He can walk naked. How you say?
Walk naked if you want.
Okay. So, we talked about always, solving the problem, find out the need. Last time you said, the difficult part actually is to discover what the problem is, because as soon as you have the problem, you have the solution, right?
Yeah.
So let's say we have a solution.
And then the communication part.
The communication part.
12 seconds.
Exactly. So let's talk about this less than 12 seconds, Let's say I have the problem, I found out the problem, I have the solution, I did the research, I did a prototype and everything.
You build an app.
Let's say we're there. Okay, so how can you create this app and you have this application, and now how can you sell your app to the customer segment that you need to have in less than 12 seconds. I mean, to understand them that that's the solution, and then less than 12 seconds they need to understand.
Yeah, there is. You remember the Wolf of Wall Street?
Of course. Yeah.
There's the scene in that movie that for me that's incredible. When the guy who's a drug dealer. So when the Wolf of Wall Street is sitting on the table and telling his friends, we have to sell shares, and then he asks one of his friends, how do you sell that share for me? And he say, no, blah, blah, blah. Sell me that pen. Remember, sell me that pen.
Yeah, exactly.
And then exactly. And then the friend say, here's a contract. I want you to sign. He say, I don't have a pen.
Oh my God. I remember
that was less than 12 seconds.
It's something very, very funny in my mind, because when like 3 years ago I started working in a company, in like an insurance company. In Switzerland, it's like eating bread every time. So I started there for just a couple of months, and we had like some school, how to sell on the people on the phone, the insurance.
Yes.
And we were on the table like 10, 15 people, and this guy came to me, the teacher, and said, David, sell me this pen. I said, oh my God, man, how the fuck should I sell me this pen? And I said, I think at the time I didn't watch The Wolf of Wall Street. I started watch the first time there after I had the school, because all the people, you need to be like the Wolf of Wall Street, very hungry, So I said, man, I don't know, man. If I start to say that's blue and all this, I'll get the fuck out of here, So I said, man, come on, I don't see a pen. I say, write me your name. And this was like this. He said, I don't have a pen. I said, this one?
There you go.
But it was, very.
I had natural,
but I was very lucky, because actually I would say, man, it's a blue pen. You can put in your hand, and it would be very, very easy to write. All this bullshit, But then I understood, maybe, okay, so I need to give him something that he needs. But how can you understand him that he needs this pen?
But that's funny, because I remember my first job out of college.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that was interviewing me told me the same thing: sell me this pen. The movie Wolf of Wall Street wasn't there, it was because it was a long time ago. And I did the stupid thing is like, oh, this pen was from Elvis Presley. It's a famous pen, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
but I still got the job. I got the job, but I did it was lazy the way I was trying to sell this.
Okay.
A lousy way to try to sell this thing. It's better to focus on the need, like you did. But that's all it is. Because if you really suppose you're trying to help people who are hungry to have food, and you create an app where food is free, do you think that this app will have a lot of users? I'm telling you, man. We have to be more basic than that. You understand? Because the moment you get to basic, a lot of times we lose perspective because we do not go to the basics.
Exactly. We think too much.
Too much.
Sure.
You ask someone, do you want to be cool? Yes, use an iPhone. Thank you very much.
That's simple.
That's it.
You want to be fast? Buy Nike.
Sorry?
You want to be fast, you want to run fast, so buy Nike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really basic, but it's hard to be simple. I think it's the hardest thing, because
I think that the difficult thing about the simplicity is that, now in my case, we grow up finding, trying to do always more. And most of the time, when you're looking for a solution for that problem, actually it's there. You don't need to think like for 2 or 3 weeks every day. Actually, it's very simple, And a teacher said when I was in the college, he told me, when you're writing a test in the school, and you don't know this answer, just read it very simple, and the first thing that comes in your mind, just write it down. Even if it's something stupid, but most of the time, the solution is there, you know. So I think we are used to think too much, you know, what can be, you know, and that's there, you know. And I think the simplicity is the biggest art, you know.
Yeah. There is what they call the paradox of knowledge.
Mm.
We lack knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all around us. We look for knowledge, but it's all around us.
Mm-hmm.
Why? So if it's all around and I'm
Mm-hmm.
all day looking for knowledge, why is it that I can't find it? And usually the reason
Mm-hmm.
is because you think you know how it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not looking for knowledge. You're looking for what you think knowledge is.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's like you said, why prison is a knowledge.
Sorry?
So you said like why knowledge is a prison, you
Why
know?
knowledge is a prison. Because we think before we look at a problem, before we look at the problem or try to find a solution, we have in our head what we think the solution should look like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the toughest part.
You know, it's like that. It's very difficult to learn something that you think that you already know.
Here we go. I struggle with that every day, man. I mean, this year, I think this year was tough, but for me, the part that was tough is to redefine so many things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to get the energy to redefine so many things. And it was tough, but it was probably one of my most productive years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's not even finished yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But it was tough because you had to redefine so many things.
Mm-hmm. 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 So
And it's really about going to basics, because I'll give you another example.
yeah.
So climate change, okay?
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Probably the biggest issue we'll have to deal with in the next 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you come to me and you're trying to figure out if climate change is real, if it's false, if climate change is a consequence of the CO2, all that thing, we can have a whole conversation. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I can assure you it's not interesting. That conversation is not interesting because we're having
Why?
the wrong conversation. We're having a conversation is climate change is true or not, if it's caused by the way I make money or not.
Mm-hmm.
You understand the problem? You understand where this conversation is stuck? Because you have a bunch of people saying, oh, climate change, since it's a problem because of the way we produce things, so let's stop producing things that way. Really? What about all the people that made their investments?
What so you have like a bunch of people.
Them? Exactly. What solution you have for them? So those people have to tell you climate change is wrong.
Because they have their money there. They have maybe
Of course. What about all the people that work there? So all the people that work in the energy industry, oil industry. So you want them out of jobs.
So all the people on the street, like the people that work there.
Perfect. So now let's assume that instead of trying to convince people if climate change is wrong or not, you say, you know what? There is a different way we can do things and you don't lose your money. What do you think they're gonna do? You get to stay alive and you get to keep your money.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. But
that's not the way it's approached. The way it's approached is if you do not want to stop what you're doing, that's because you're stupid. Really, no one is stupid. But you're telling me I lose money now or I die in 30 years. What do you think the answer is?
I lose the money now, maybe.
Oh, let me live 30 years more with my money.
Okay, yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So the solution has to sound like
that both part have something, that this guy doesn't lose to his money, that he can
And
maybe
we
earn
all
much
live
more.
longer. And we all live longer.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, maybe the people that are looking for a solution are just people that doesn't care about the other guy that's losing the money, maybe,
Yeah,
and
but the people who do have the money make decisions, and that's the issue.
exactly.
You understand? You have to be pragmatics about things.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
You cannot approach anyone in any
Mhm,
situation to tell them, you know what, you
mhm.
either lose everything today or we all die in 30 years. The answer is, since we're all gonna die, where's the problem?
Ironic.
Let
You
me
know,
live 30 years with the money.
okay. So you think they're gonna find a solution
No
for
one is
climate change?
looking for one. No one is looking
Mhm,
for one. All they're trying to do, at least the way I'm observing this problem, because this is something for me that is really important. Understand? It is the main issue I work on. How do we
mhm, mhm,
stop this thing from killing us all? And every time I look at any solution, it's
mhm.
always the same thing. No one is saying how to do things differently.
And that's crazy because, for example, this year in Switzerland, in summer, you had sometimes 35 degrees Celsius, and
It's
for
real,
Switzerland,
of
that's
course.
a lot, And the last year you had like on the 24th of December, like where actually in Switzerland -5, -6, degrees. You had like 22 degrees outside, on the 24th of December in the middle of the winter. It's
Look,
crazy.
if we're dealing with the economic consequences of a
Hmm.
pandemic like COVID, and it's hard on us,
Imagine
climate
climate
change is
change.
way bigger than that
My
because it
God.
changes all aspects. It changes the food chain, the food logistics.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
changes the weather. It changes the where you can plant food. It
Hmm.
changes water levels. It
Hmm.
changes which city is underwater, above water. I mean, there is so many consequences of this thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Imagine we can't deal with COVID. Imagine what this will look like. Now you say, if this is so big, why isn't anyone doing anything? Yeah, the thing is because no one is thinking about a real alternative satisfying everybody's need.
Everybody's looking on their own for their own.
You understand? And it doesn't make sense and it will not move. So it's not that people say, even the people that are saying climate change doesn't exist, what they're saying is it's not my problem because you're asking me to lose everything and I'm not going
Exactly.
to.
Exactly.
So since we're
Exactly.
all going to die, I prefer that alternative.
It's the same thing, like to make an example. I remember I was in Italy for holidays,
Yeah.
to my grandparents, and I was in a bar, and they were talking about politics, like he should do like this one, and the other guy said no, but this guy is not good. Better to have the other guy in the politics, and the other guy said no, it's not good. And then all of a sudden, the guy who was working in the bar said, guys, the thing is, why you don't have a revolution in Italy? And all of it, and both guys said, no, why? No, because actually you have a lot of people that are poor and and they want to change Italy and saying the politics is bad and the politicians are bullshit, they're talking only bullshit. But you have also the other part that you have Italians that are very rich, Italians that live in Italy that are rich, they don't care about the other people. And actually, they have the power in their hands, so they don't care about changing things because then it's good, you know. And that's why you don't have a revolution because you have the 50% that want to have a revolution in Italy, and you have the other part that say no. Man, I'm changing life. I have the money. For me, it works. That's it. Yeah,
So
but
the
yeah,
thing
so
is,
the problem is the ego in this part. Can we say like that or
ego
not?
ego is a big word. It's like we talked last time. For me, most problems are bad design.
Mm, bad design, you think?
Bad design because
And you think, sorry, because that's for me also very, very important to understand. So you think also bad design, but bad design is the people that create this design, maybe when you said it's a bad design, but maybe they created a bad design because they were thinking not for solving a problem for the other one, but maybe for solving a problem for them.
Yes. So let me say, what I'm saying is this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say a group of people have investment in the way the production system of the world works.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we're producing things so we can all eat, get
Mm-hmm.
clothes, and get a house is destroying the planet. That is bad design.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we design something to survive, but that thing that help us survive in the short term by giving food, clothes, housing to some people, not to all, is already destroying the planet. And then you say, so if I'm trying to give to everybody access to that, we're just going to destroy the planet faster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now you say, wait a second, I have a very big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way I'm producing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm destroying the planet. But there are so many people out of the system that I need to get in, because those people also need food, they need clothing, and they need housing. And if you put them in, actually, you're going to just accelerate the way we destroy. Perfect. But you have to put them in. How are you going to do that? That's the first problem.
Exactly. First, how to put them in. How the second. Yeah.
The second problem is, so those people who, for some reason, have invested, taking risk with their money, giving jobs for the economy to work the way it works. So you're telling them they need to lose everything and they need to stop doing what they're doing the way they're doing it, because we're all going to die in 30, 40, 60 years. Now, you have a problem, because actually you would need to be doing more of that so you can include the people that are out of it. Okay? And when I look at all the solution they give, you see, Michael Moore has a movie, you should look at it, that explain how a bunch of the way you generate energy from green it's not that clear that it's actually helping. Some of them actually create more damage to the environment. The whole green movement, some things are good, some things are worse than oil.
What's the name of this movie? Sorry.
I forgot about it. But the thing is, there's it's not only him. So there are scientists like Jorgen. There's a lot of people that studied this thing in detail, So Michael Moore made a movie, but you need to focus on the scientists that are in that movie, so you can read their books, read their papers, and understand the enormous amount of work they've done. Show you the limit of what green is, because green is just another agenda. That doesn't mean it's a solution, okay? But let's define the problem. You have a bunch of people that needs in the system.
Yeah.
And you have the system of production that is destroying the planet. So the more people you include, the faster you'll destroy. Okay? But you still need to include those people, because if you do not include them, not only you will get climate change, you'll get social unrest destroying you. So you have to attend that. But also you have to be careful of climate change. And then you have a group of people who've invested their money that don't want this thing to change. So whatever thing you think you're going to build, you need to take into account everyone. Otherwise, it's again bad design. No one will move.
Well, the thing is, maybe, you need then to create companies that are trying to solve a problem, for the climate change, and the people that invested the money in the oil companies, can, I know it now, it's very easy to.
No, but that's exactly what the solution is.
That they can switch the money from the old companies to this one, so then maybe can profit more. But
that's all it is.
So why? What do you think? Why are not doing that? So what are they?
I'm telling you because it's bad design.
Mm-hmm.
We lack good designers because everybody is thinking for themselves. Everybody is thinking just how to solve their problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's hard to build product that work. I'm telling you. Why does democracy works? Because it's the best product we have so far. It's not totally fair, but it's the fairest when you compare it to everything else. You understand? It's democracy is a design. It's a product design on how we hang out together. It's another product. And all the social unrest, whenever you say, you know what, the system is not working, the product is not good, let's make it better. That's all it is. It's again a question of redesign. Now, when you have a bad designer, they tell you, why are you protesting? The product is great. And you say, no, a good designer would say, what else do you want me to put into the product to make it better? You understand?
Exactly.
It's all. So in the end, we start talking about how you dress to make your product successful. And in the end, I really believe it's all a question of, do you have a product that solves everybody's need? Because if you solve needs and you can make them everyone understand in less than 12 seconds.
Where did you read this? I mean, where did you find out about the 12 seconds? I didn't know about that.
You need to Google it. I don't know. I was reading about it. It's like they say millennials, you need only have attention span of 12 seconds. Okay. I think it was between 7 and 12 seconds. It's like millennial has 7 seconds and the generation before have 12 seconds. Okay. And I laugh about that because what does that mean? I mean, Game of Thrones is like eight episodes. I don't know. It's eight.
Yeah, 9 episodes. Yeah, I know what you mean. Not episodes. You mean
series?
Series. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's 8 years. Game of Thrones is 8 or 9 years. I mean, so you keep people interested for 8 or 9 years, but then you say they have 12 seconds of attention. But of course, I'm doing it on purpose. I know what that means. That means every 7 seconds or every 12 seconds, you need to give people a reason for them to continue. Because if it's 12 seconds, they don't have a reason that say, wow, this is interesting, they lose focus and think of what they're going to do. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's why I make a joke about it. I make a joke about it. That means you need to keep people interested for 8 years, 7 seconds at a time. Every 7 seconds, you need to give them a reason to continue.
Well, I think that's gonna be a big game, man.
But that's the game. I mean, that's the way it works. You know, like you need to remind people every 7 seconds or every 12 seconds. You need to tell them why they should continue. Because if in 12 seconds they don't have a reason to continue with your product,
yeah, it's like where they said that they asked the guy, it's easier to become successful or to remain successful. And he said, well, actually, it's much to remain successful, because maybe you can be lucky, create something, or become a good actor with a good movie, But then what's the next movie, What about the next one? What about the next 2 years? What about the next 3 years,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so much luck into what we define as success. You understand? I mean, let's say the Oscar. Every year there is only, for each category, one Oscar.
Exactly.
Okay. What about if that year there were a bunch of great movies and you are a great actor? You didn't win. Because there were a bunch of great movies. But next year, there's a bunch of lame movies. If you would have done your movie next year, probably you would have won the Oscar.
Exactly. It's like the Leonardo DiCaprio with Titanic. He didn't won, he won all the Oscars, but the best leading actor, he didn't win the Oscar. But then with the other movie that now I don't remember the name, like 5 years ago, that all the people said that was very bad movie. Oh my God, he won the Oscar. No.
So there's so many things about what we call success that do not depend on what you do. So that's why I think that it's not a good measure to decide what you do.
So how would you measure that?
It's with yourself. I mean, if I am an actor, when you and we act, when for fun we're doing our sketches and and we're trying to express character feels like. I mean, the pleasure is when you get it right.
Exactly. When everybody says that was a good one.
It was a good one. And the pleasure is when next time you find a subtlety you didn't realize the previous time.
Exactly. And you said, why didn't do it like that,
Exactly. And you say, how much more can I do? And you start working on that character, just to say actor. So if you're building a product, same thing. Now, you may or may not find the recognition of everyone. But the satisfaction of the work well done is achievable by everybody.
But so why people are looking more for be recognized for the people?
Well, because maybe we like to suffer.
You like to? Oh, you need to explain me that way. You need to explain me that.
Maybe you like to suffer. I don't know.
So what do you mean with you like to suffer? I love when you give me those answers that I say, oh, what the fuck is you thinking, man?
I'm telling you. Let's say I control the satisfaction of the work well done.
Yes.
Okay. Let's stay with acting or with any art, which is designing a product, doing whatever you have to do. Okay. You push yourself, you do something great. And then you realize on the next one, you can do it greater. And then you realize on the next one, you can do it greater. That you control. That is 100% under your control. What is not under your control is what people think of your work. Okay?
Yeah.
We're talking about art.
Yeah. Okay. But on the same on the art, and tell me, maybe it's completely wrong what I'm saying, but also, I think a movie, let's talk about movie. A movie is successful if the people like it, right?
Yes, but that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about winning the Oscar.
Yeah, winning the Oscar, but
it's two different things. Tom Cruise can only make blockbusters. All the movies Tom Cruise make are successful. Did he ever win an Oscar?
I think not. Tom Cruise, I thought.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we were talking about something different. We're talking about the Oscar now. Okay? We're talking
finding like yourself successful on yourself, because maybe DiCaprio didn't win an Oscar with Titanic, but he made then a bunch of very successful movies, and and he was also, I think, very satisfied with himself,
But that's what I'm saying. If you talk to an artist, you need to control how you feel about your work. You cannot let what people tell you about your work affect your work. And you do your best in everything you do. Now, then the public will judge you. Now, that's art. Okay? But let's take the other aspect of it, which is consumption. You're building a product. So a movie is also a product.
Exactly.
Okay? An app is a product. Now, your job is to make sure that you build something people will consume.
Exactly.
So, what do? I do the big, mega, each people killing from the both side with a bunch of animation and bloom.
Uh-huh.
Success.
Uh-huh.
I measure in terms of adoption. I measure how many people went to the movie, how many people paid for it. If you don't win an Oscar for any of those movies from an acting point of view, who cares? That wasn't the goal. So what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to say here is you need to define what success is for you.
Okay.
You don't let people define. So if for you success is selling a lot of your movie, make the movie you can sell a lot. If for you success is great acting, make the movie with great acting. Whatever was the intent, you control that.
Exactly.
You control that. But you cannot let people control how you feel about your work, because that will be really bad. If you make a blockbuster movie, everybody buy it, and then you let someone say, yeah, but you didn't win an Oscar, that's bad acting, and that affects you. It shouldn't, because that wasn't your goal.
Exactly. Your goal was to make a good movie that people like, you know?
A movie that people like, whether it's good or not, depends on who's paying for it. The ones who are paying for it think it was good.
Exactly. So you cannot make everyone happy at the end.
You shouldn't care.
You shouldn't care. Okay.
Because otherwise you'll never do anything. No, it's like, I'll tell you something. When you're a parent, you'll understand that. You can do your effort to make an incredible meal for your child. They may eat it and say thank you, or they may forget. But it doesn't matter, because what was the pleasure? The pleasure was I make an incredible effort to give my child a healthy meal. Something that's good for him, you know?
Exactly.
And if he say thank you, wow, that's even better.
Of course, but the goal was not to receive a thank you from your son, but the goal was to give them healthy food.
There you go. Now, if your goal is for your son to say thank you, give him candy.
Exactly.
He'll be jumping around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your goal? You understand? You need to
control. You need to define what your goal is.
That's exactly. And you control that. Okay? You control that. So, and you forget, and you treat everything else as noise, because otherwise you will never do anything. It's really hard to innovate. You understand? It's really hard to be different. It's really hard to be the first. Because everybody thinks you're crazy, you don't make sense. Why are you trying to go away from what's expected? Why are you trying to be different than the mold? It's really tough. You know that as an artist. You know, that's why artists suffer so much. You know, because, like, yeah, you know, one of the critics they do to Elon Musk and they do to Steve Jobs, they say those guys, it's hard to work with them, because if you tell them no, they push you away. It's really hard. It's really tough, because they want something and they want it now, and they cannot tolerate someone telling them that it's not doable.
Will you tolerate someone in your company?
Of what?
If you know exactly what the goal is, for example, like Steve Jobs, you know, but in your way, you know, you want to build that one, and you have a guy that started you, well, no, I think it's not working like that way. Maybe you can do it like this one. Would you push him away, or you think is that a solution?
I'll tell you something. No one has ever built anything great by accepting someone telling them it can't be done. Okay? Now, the way you deal with that may be different based on personality.
Okay.
Okay? So your personality might be the kind of person that say, okay, you're out. Or your personality might be the kind of person that say, why do you think it can't be done? and then you have a conversation about it.
Mhm.
Or you might be the kind of person that say, if you don't think it can be done, so what are you doing here?
Exactly. But if you talk with him, if you are this personality and that you can talk with him, maybe in this conversation you can discover what you can add more in your product. Maybe.
However you deal with it, is a question of life history, personality, whatever it is. But I can assure you, no one has achieved anything great by letting people tell them it can be done. You understand? Because if they tell you it can be done and you stop there, one thing for sure, it will not be done.
And you didn't believe a lot in your product, maybe.
Before believing, forget believing. I mean, you say, you know what? I want to do this because I realize this is what needs to be done. And you approach someone, they say, you know what? It can't be done. So you can say, move out, or you can say, explain to me why it can't be done. But the way, that's a question of personality.
Yeah.
Because what you know is, I will not stop until I get it done, because I cannot stop. The moment I see it, I cannot stop. So if you have that type of personality, that once you understand what needs to be done, you will not stop until you get it done. Now, how you deal with rejection is something different. Some people, when they tell them no, they push you away. Some people, when they tell them no, they say, explain me why you think it's no. Some people scream. Some people cry when they tell them no. I mean, you understand?
But I want to tell you, I love this part. And sorry for this stupid question that will you know, but I need, so you said, when you say a great product or a great entrepreneur did never build a product, and stopped when someone told him, it can be done, right? So he continued, but is that not something like a bad design, with a protester outside, that wants something? Maybe the guy that created this design said, no, I want this part. I don't care what people were testing outside. You know what?
You have to ask me another way, because I think it's interesting what you're asking, and it's good that you ask
for example, listening. When you know that I'm building this app, and let's say this app gonna solve a problem, but the customer that I'm looking for, it's not solving anything. But I say, and this customer is telling me, David, it can't be done. But I say no. I want this. I know it's gonna solve a problem, but then maybe if I'm doing this way, if I act this way, maybe I missed the part to listen to this person and understand.
Okay, why. I see what you're saying. So here goes the thing. That's why I took away belief, because you say if you believe in yourself and you don't need to believe in anything. Bring me data.
Facts.
I don't need to believe. I mean, every time someone say, please trust me. Yeah, bro. In God we trust. Everyone else, please bring data. You understand? So the thing is, if the data is saying we need to build this, okay, you can tell me this is not what we should be building. We should be building something else. I welcome it. Bring data. Okay? Bring data. Perfect. Now, the data may reject or confirm. I learned something. If it rejected, if the new data rejects my views, I learned something. I'm happy. If the new data didn't reject my view, okay, I'm less happy. That means I lost time. Okay, let's continue. So move on. Let's do it. But now they take the second level, which is it's technically impossible to be done. That's a bad answer. Because once you know what you need to do, technology is the capacity to innovate, to get it done. So when you're talking to technologists and the technologist is telling you science haven't solved that, okay, so why don't we solve it? Let's solve it. Because if science haven't solved that, is there a way around it? Is there a way to design the product in a different way, that I don't need to solve that part, but I still build a design that the data tell me is the product. But because if you let someone tell you no, it can be, and then you stay there, that's it, you're done. Now, how do you deal with someone telling you it can be done is a question of personality. You understand? So some people might say, you know what, this can technically be done. Okay, I've heard that so many times in my life. This can't be done until you get it done. You understand? So the thing is, how do you approach it? If you're smart about it, the first question you ask yourself is, okay, it can be done. The first question is there a way to get it done without that one, without that problem? Is there a way around it? Because that's usually the easiest way. That's what Steve Jobs is so great for what he does. So when he said it can be done, so he solved it a different way. But he's not changing the product. Exactly. He's changing the way he's implementing the product. Because once you understand where you need to go, you cannot stop until you get there. And that's how you innovate. You innovate because every time you heard it can be done, you think, what's a different way? And you're not even thinking of innovating. All you're thinking about is, I want to get there as fast as possible. Then you realize, oh, I spent 10 years on this thing, and you innovate on so many aspects, but you were not thinking of that. All you were thinking is you do not tolerate people telling you it can be done. So why can't I be the first? You understand? And it's really tough to be there. It's really tough. So that's why when I listen and say, oh, Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, you can't work with those guys. It's anyone, even in your own life. You understand? Even at any level, if you tolerate people telling you it can't be done, that's it. Now, like I said, there's a question of personality. Some people treat other human beings with human dignity. So you'll never scream on someone. You'll never mistreat someone. You'll never treat them like shit. You don't do that to another human being. You do not do that to another human being. You respect each human being. And if your team is a smart team, actually, every time they tell you no, your next question should be why you think it's no. And then you get to learn something. But what you cannot do is people telling you it can be done, and you say, you know what, probably you're true. No, they're wrong. Maybe it cannot be done that way.
But there's another way. Exactly.
What other way? And that is called innovation. That is innovation. Innovation is when you ask that question. There's a very big difference of it can be done and saying it has never been done before. Oh, that's a mental shift. The moment you say, no, it's not that it can't be done. It has never been done before. That's a mental shift. Okay, so how are we going to do it? Because I'm not stopping. You understand?
And then you'll find different ways how to do it.
That's innovation. And it has nothing to do with your dress.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very, very, very much. What a good one.
Yeah.
What a good one.
But you do that. You push me. You ask me those questions, and you get.
Was great. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you, brother. Bye-bye.